I just want to bring this up. Journalists have one job. They have one job. It's a big job. It's an umbrella job, but it's one job. And that is to report factual news. And yet, for some reason, for the last 2 years, this has been the hardest job that they've ever had to do. So hard that, in fact, they don't do it. They don't report factual news. Have you seen that picture that Mitch's office has released? Have you? There's so many things that are questionable about it. Namely, the fact that it's not real. It is purely AI. Y'all know how I feel, so let's take a journey through these pictures. So apparently there was this statement from his office. Let's read it together. We're going to skip down to the part where it says, "My doctors have confirmed that I didn't break any bones or suffer a concussion. I didn't have a heart attack or a stroke. I don't have any tumors or hemorrhages, but I was briefly unconscious and was taken to the hospital. While receiving excellent care over the past several weeks, I've also had to deal with a mild case of pneumonia." Raise your hand if you've ever had a pneumonia. Raise your hand if you've ever been to the hospital and there was absolutely nothing wrong with you except you kept falling because, according to his story, he had polio, so he missed a step or something and fell down the stairs or something like that. Raise your hand if you've ever been to the hospital and had a stay and there was nothing wrong with you as they did test after test after test. Did you stay several weeks? Did you stay several weeks? Did you get sent home with your mild case of pneumonia? For me, first question, no. Second question, yes. I got diagnosed with pneumonia, got sent home with medication. Mind you, he's old. So maybe they watched him for a couple of days or so. But he said several weeks. That would be the last 4 weeks. Who stays in a hospital for 4 weeks with only a mild case of pneumonia? I was in the hospital a few years ago where they thought I had a stroke. So I had a CT, I had an MRI, I had blood work, I had all of it. Turned out just really bad migraines. I was in the hospital for 3 days. I've twice had blood clots in my lungs, pulmonary embolisms. I was in the hospital for 5 days each time. Neither time was I in the hospital for 4 weeks. Neither time, by the way, was I fully dressed because they needed to access my veins and I would have had an IV drip. Neither time would I be ET pointing to a newspaper and having it glow where my finger is. Let's review the picture, shall we? All right, so we're looking at it. This was posted, like I said, by their team. There was further stuff being posted as well, such as, "You have a right to expect your representative to work," blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to get back. Also, you guys, they posted the newspaper kind of as a dated proof of life. So this would have been way after Lindsey Graham died. And yet there's no mention of his friend, colleague. So as I said, he is ET. He is phoning home by pointing to this paper, and for some reason there's a colored halo out under him. "Oh, but what happened is, lighting and stuff." Okay, you want to say that. Cool. So let's look at his buttons. Again, we're in 2026. Pictures do what pictures do. They are still stagnant. Taking a picture, I should see your buttons. But lighting, but compression when you add it to social media. Oh, really? Here's a picture from social media. It's a screenshot of a picture that was posted to social media and therefore compressed for it. But I can still read USA on this man's chest. The guy who was at the party that Nolan actually attended. But this picture was deleted. I'm sure my son won't mind, but this picture was taken, I think, in 2011. Yep, in 2011. Oh my gosh, almost to the day. I can read his shirt. I can read what's written. I can see his watch. I can see people all the way in the background. And I can make out what they're doing. Oh, look, there's another guy there. This was with devices in 2011. Oh man, I messed it up. Okay, so to get back to this, that's one thing that's wrong. The second thing is I can't read anything on this newspaper. There are no distinguishable words at all whatsoever on this newspaper. Again, the buttons. What is, okay. Then we have Mitchy Poo's glasses. I can't fix this picture. I don't know, I already screwed up. Hold on. That's about as good as it's going to get right now. But anyway, look at, I'm doing it again. Look at his eyes. Even if I allow for the fact that whatever happened to him during his fall might have janked up his eyes, those are two different types of eyes. And funny, we can't really make out teeth and lips, like the separation of it. Then we get to his wife and her weirdness. This is nothing to do with that, but if you look at the hood over her eye pupil, there's this extra line over her eye pupil, and I doubt that she did her eyeliner bad. So bad that that's actually happening. Additionally, we are dealing with two different types of eyes as well, and either that's a clump of liner right on her waterline, or that's the pupil bleeding into her waterline. And then we look at her janky mouth. And then she's wearing a blouse that has buttons, I think. Like the top one seems to have a button. It seems to be pulled into it. There is a chance that it is a really cheap shirt and it's a sewn in pretend button. But as I said, that would be a really cheap shirt. And I doubt the missus has really cheap shirts. And then so she's missing other buttons. So apparently there's only one button, and maybe it's all sewn together like a really, really cheap shirt. And then there's her hand. So her hand is supposed to be under his arm. Picture for reference. So her hand is supposed to be under his arm. And there seems to be a little problem with that, y'all. Because if we zoom in a little bit, you will see that the design of the shirt is on her arm as well. Now, I don't know if you can see it either, but the pixelation is incredible. And it's not because it was compressed to be put on social media. It's because this is AI, honey. In fact, when we look at his hand, you can see tiny boxes. Now, it looks like there's supposed to be a Band-Aid right there, but I don't know if that is denoting that he's actually in a, has an IV thing. I don't know. It doesn't look like it at all, so I'm actually filling in the blanks here. And maybe he's just putting on a sweater or a shirt so that he takes a decent picture and people don't see him in his clothes. But, yeah, no. I think you can see them. It's like miniature boxes. I just showed you a picture from 2011. This picture with my son from 15 years ago did not have miniature boxes. But this 2026 picture from a guy who would have more money than the rest of us, and his people who would have more money than the rest of us, can't seem to have a non-pixelated, it's not even pixels, these are boxes. So, it's not, well, I guess on TV it would be like a little tiny box. But even still, this is one of the new type of AI. I have noticed this repeatedly in some of the videos that we've been given, such as the China one, where they pretended like he went to China, not this he, the other he. And I noticed all the boxes in the pixelation for those videos. So this is a new brand of AI that us regular people don't have our hands on. This is something that they have a hand on in their little department that they have, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. None of what I'm saying is actual fact. This is all opinion, and please don't take my account. So tell me why journalists aren't calling this out. Are we really that corrupted in our institutions? Hmm.